He's going to be missed.
He is. And I want to share a story that for folks who maybe listen to adfreeshows.com or something may have already heard this, but Pat Patterson told a story at a live show. And I'm not gonna say the full word because I'm not an asshole, but he was having a match. Oh, was it again? It wasn't against Zbyszko. Anyways, he was having a match against one of the guys, and of course, the other guy was the heel. Patterson was the face, and this guy out on the ring apron, he said to the heel, "Hey, heel, you're a fucking F-word," referring to a homosexual. And Patterson locked up with that guy and said, "If only they fucking knew." That's just awesome. That's just awesome. Good old Pat. I wish I could have met the guy because he seemed like he always had like a really good, a positive sense about him.
He'd be a good one to have a beer with.
Oh, for sure. He'd be a good one to take a shot of tequila.
Yeah. Ooh, we're on the same page, man. Salt up the rim. It's time for this year's tequila shot, which is our award for the most impactful thing, event, or person in the entirety of professional wrestling. And in 2020, as much as it sickens me to say it, that award needs to go to COVID-19. It shut shit down. It made people think on their toes. It changed the game as we know it.
This is the first event, Pasty, in yours and my lifetime that has not only changed pro wrestling, but changed the world at the same time. Nothing else has ever done that in our lifetime.
DX did that.
Oh, shut the fuck up. Just because you had to go to detention for crotch shopping doesn't mean it changed the world, Pasty. But truly, I mean, it's just like, I mean, COVID could win the tequila shot for the world, not just pro wrestling.
Yeah.
There was nothing more impactful this entire year.
Talk about 380,000 Americans dead, almost 2 million across the globe. Yeah, COVID affected a lot of things this year.
Wrestlers have lost their jobs. Companies have ended up shutting down. And even let's say the positives about it. You know, it changed the whole cinematic match, which of course Impact made popular.
Yeah.
And to be fair, they've had cinnamon.
Cinnamon?
Yeah, they've had similar cinnamon. They've had similar cinematic matches in the past, but super few and far between. And yeah, this year truly showed. It created the Thunderdome that never would have existed before. I mean, this has caused ramifications that are going to change things going forward forever. Like, there are certain things that are not going back to normal, folks.
Oh yeah. You think it's 2021 and the masks are done?
No.
They say even with the vaccine, you're supposed to continue to wear a mask until about 70% of the population has received it.
Oh, for sure. So, yeah, how does this not get that? I mean, that's a no-brainer. That's one we didn't even have to think about, folks. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
We took a night off on that one.
I'd say in wrestling and for beef sticks, the biggest thing has been the cinematic matches. I mean, without COVID, we would have never got the Firefly Funhouse match, which is John Cena's last match in WWE, and that was amazing. Probably my favorite one of the year.
God, I loved that.
It
So
was
many
so
people
good.
hate it. So many people find it the worst. I've seen it ranked multiple times on worst cinematic matches or worst matches this year.
Oh, Jesus.
God, I
Every
love it.
other cinematic match was shit by comparison.
And I mean, to be fair, it wasn't a match
No.
in a traditional term, and I will give you that.
No, it was kind of like
It was
Southpaw
still
Wrestling,
awesome.
but if it was Bray Wyatt themed.
Yeah, it was still so super awesome.
Uh-huh. It was perfect. The way they tied his whole career in a bow and fucking... And John Cena's acting in it was just amazing. I still, every time I think about it, I just think of him pumping the iron really fast.
Coming out with the Hollywood Hogan belt to the NWO. Yeah.
So good. So good. We had the what was the Undertaker AJ Styles match called?
The Boneyard match.
Yeah, there you go.
Which, let's be honest, the cinematic, this whole COVID cinematic thing is the only reason we got Botchamania. That never would have fucking happened if it wasn't for everything else going on, right?
Well, they wouldn't have been let go from WWE if it wouldn't have been for COVID.
That's true also.
Yeah.
To be fair, Brodie Lee probably wouldn't have been let go from WWE.
Uh-huh. COVID-19 cost Rey Mysterio his eye and saw him thrown off the top of WWE headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut.
And it's had his daughter statutorily raped by Buddy Murphy or something, or I don't know what's going on.
Alexa Bliss
in that
just kind of
storyline.
winks at it on Twitter, like, "Whoa,
Yeah, I don't know what's going on in that storyline,
go
but I
get
just
her,
see a lot
bud."
of hate.
Yeah, it's been an odd year for the Mysterios, but hey, Dominic's signed to WWE now. Wonder
Yeah,
if
but to
him
be
and
fair,
Brodie
so did-
Jr. are gonna have a match somewhere
I
down
was
the
just
line.
going to say, to be fair, 8-year-old Brodie Huber got signed to a contract too, so it's not saying much, buddy.
I can't wait till the triple threat of Brodie Jr., Dominic Mysterio, and Nicholas.
I thought you were going to throw in fucking David Benoit.
Oh, no, nobody's ever gonna sign him. He looks too much like his dad. It's terrifying.
It's sad too, but that's a whole other thing.
The interviews he did this year, just so hopeful that he was gonna go to AEW or WWE, and everybody's like,
do it. Gonna do it. You know what he should do? He should go to the same plastic surgeon that The Weeknd went to. Nobody will ever fucking recognize him then. Nobody. Motherfucker went from The Weeknd to Monday.
Nobody gives The Weeknd enough credit for being like the Black Mirror of pop music. He's always been like, everything with him is subliminal, and like if you're just hearing the song and you're not watching the video, you're not understanding what the story is whatsoever.
The Weeknd's still really good too. I enjoy listening to The Weeknd.
He is.
As much as people want to hate on today's music.
No, I think him like Kendrick Lamar. You can listen to it on a surface level and it's good bopping music, and then you can listen to it on a deeper level and have a whole another experience.
Right?
Yep. Neither one of those are involved with wrestling.
No. But something that is, we're going to go from the worst to the best, but definitely had some implications. Folks would call them negative implications. But hey, sometimes you get what you deserve. Inspiration of the year, Pasty, and throughout the year there's been so many great inspirations. This year it may seem negative, but the speaking out movement, the hashtag speaking out, it finally let female wrestlers stand up to abusers in the industry. And you know what? Not just female wrestlers. There have been some male wrestlers who have gotten to stand up against male and female abusers. But against people who either sexually assault them, treat them like objects, maybe verbally assault them. Some of them just said, you know what, they just treated me like shit and they used me. And, you know, maybe they didn't sexually abuse me, but they still used me and made me feel like dirt. Yeah, so many huge names and small names are out of work right now. We're going to be talking about Marty Scurll in the upcoming episode that follows this, actually episode 1 of season 4, our first official episode, not special.
This is episode -1.
This is the Brodie Lee Jr. episode.
It's going to be signed to AEW when it turns 18.
This whole speaking out movement, though, it's good to see. This may be the best thing for female wrestlers, and I know it's all genders, but
it cleaned the fucking garbage, at least a good chunk of it, out of an industry that is so tied up in its own roots. And where wrestling was 50, 60 years ago is not a good place to be. And not many workplaces to this day are subject to the kind of behavior that people in general have suffered at the hands of some professional wrestlers.
Yeah, this industry really is easily a decade or two behind every other industry.
It really is. It's sick and it's sad, and I'm glad that the speaking out movement was able to take out some of the trash.
I am too. And to be fair, there probably are some innocents who have been hurt by the speaking out movement. But I will say, I think it's okay that some innocents get hurt in the fact that so many horrible monsters are getting put out.
Yeah.
I mean,
poster
it's
boy
gonna
for
happen.
that is Alberto Del Rio. I mean, Christ.
He was kind of the Harvey Weinstein of pro wrestling, where everybody, even casual viewers, knew he was a horrible human being to women, manipulated and used his power and abused and degraded, and still everybody kept giving him championships and hiring him, and it's like
nothing was ever done about it.
Exactly.
And it culminated with a weekend of rape and sodomization with objects around a house, beating a woman, and threatening to drop her kid off in the middle of the street somewhere.
Yep. Yeah, like shit. Like it was literally an episode of fucking Criminal Minds. You know what I mean? Or Law and Order SVU.
I would definitely rather a handful of aspiring talent have to deal with the sting of being outcast from their profession than seeing 5, 6 of them grow up to become like that.
100. Agreed. Agreed. No good transition from this one, so let's just go into it.
Well, we talked about some despicable males in the last segment. Now we're going to talk about the male wrestler of the year. I mean, hands down, the guy held 2 belts for 90% of the whole year.
Yeah, the whole year.
From the first pay-per-view till the end of the year, Tetsuya Naito bringing the beefy home for New Japan Pro Wrestling. I mean, the best pay-per-view of the year, double champion. Of course he was going to get the spot, right?
Main guy in one of the biggest non-American factions of all time, LIJ. Yeah.
You know, at the beginning of 2020, I would have suspected we'd be hoisting Jon Moxley up as the male wrestler of the year. But Moxley as a character is kind of boring. He's like the old guy, the old grizzled veteran, and it just falls kind of flat. I don't know.
He definitely hasn't taken off. He's kind of in the Kenny Omega phase.
His matches are good, but just him as a character, it just doesn't...
Right.
Something's not hitting for me.
Tetsuya Naito, number one, he's been one of the best wrestlers in the world for years now.
Yeah.
I've often said he's my number 2 in New Japan. Still to this day, he's my number 2 in New Japan. I think Kazuchika Okada is a better wrestler than him, but I don't think Kazuchika Okada had a better year than him in 2020. He didn't maybe have as many matches as some of the other champions in the business, but I dare say all of his matches were amazing, and you can't say that about all of them. And so these two championships, the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship and the IWGP World Intercontinental Championship, are so prestigious, have so much history.
We never thought they were going to put both belts on one guy, let alone keep them there for a year.
And the thing I love about it is they haven't combined them. They haven't unified them. So I still believe that at one point somebody's going to be IC and somebody's going to be World.
Yep.
They're not unifying it, but it's, I mean,